There's a detail sitting right at the center of your face that can either lift your whole expression or quietly close it off. Which one is yours doing? When it works against you, you get that unsettling moment in the mirror, everything in place, yet the woman looking back feels older than she is, her reflection missing the spark you remember. Here's the surprising truth. It's rarely a bad haircut or a wrong outfit that does it. More often, it's a handful of invisible, everyday choices, so familiar we stop noticing them, that quietly pull the energy out of your look. For women over 60, it's rarely a single dramatic mishap that adds years. Instead, it's a series of tiny, repeated decisions in hair and clothing that slowly soften definition, dim the visual energy, and blur away the details that once made you feel unmistakably you. And the sneakiest part? These changes often feel safe and classic, even as they age you. Over the next few minutes, we'll walk through 5 surprisingly common hair and style missteps that even the most polished women can make. You'll see why each one can quietly shift your look off balance, how to correct it in minutes, and how to turn those fixes into timeless, low-effort habits. Think of it as a gentle recalibration for your style. Small, precise adjustments that deliver an outsized impact. By the end, you'll have a clear plan for keeping your reflection as vivid and confident as you feel inside. And here's a little teaser. Mistake number 5 is the one that completely transformed my own look one autumn afternoon. It's so straightforward, you might wonder why it isn't already part of your routine. But first, let's start with that tiny yet powerful detail you've just been picturing. Ever felt like your eyes just aren't as alive in photos anymore, even after a full night's rest? Sometimes the culprit isn't fatigue at all, it's your fringe. Heavy, long bangs can act like a curtain pulled too far forward across your forehead. Instead of softening your features, they close them in, casting fine shadows that take the light away from your eyes. Here's the part most women miss. Even a perfectly cut fringe can age you if it's too dense, because the upper half of your face becomes hidden from view. A straight, dense fringe naturally draws the viewer's focus downward. It interrupts the upward line of your features and diverts attention from the eyes, the one place we most want to engage. That downward pull is subtle but powerful. It can make your presence feel quieter than you intend. The fix is simple. Trade those heavy bangs for a lighter, feathered style. Think airy texture, a hint of openness between strands, and soft curves that echo your brow line. Instead of a solid barrier of hair, you get a frame that feels fluid, letting light travel freely across your expression. The difference is instant. Like opening a window in a dim room, your gaze feels clearer, your smile more immediate, and the entire upper face regains definition. People may not pinpoint that the fringe has changed, but they'll register a livelier, more present expression. To keep the effect crisp, schedule a trim every 6 to 8 weeks. At home, blow dry with a small round brush, lifting from the roots before sweeping the hair down. This gives shape without heaviness. Finish with a whisper-light mist of flexible hairspray to hold movement while keeping touchability. And if shifting just a few strands can open your gaze so dramatically, wait until you see what happens when we reposition your hair entirely, changing not its length, but the way the whole head is framed. Think perfect symmetry is always flattering? Not necessarily, especially when it comes to your hairstyle. Changing the position of a bun might sound almost too small to register, yet that shift can subtly reshape how your entire head and neckline are read. I once worked with a client who wore the same centered low bun for years, neat, practical, consistent. The day we angled it slightly off to one side, her whole profile transformed. It wasn't just a style change. Her posture even seemed more confident. A centered low bun can flatten the back of the head and draw emphasis to width. By shifting it just off-center, still low but leaning toward one side, you introduce a touch of asymmetry that feels intentional. Looser tendrils near the cheeks add softness and movement, breaking up any severity. The visual effect isn't about light, it's about proportion. That small angle lengthens the neckline, refines the silhouette, and creates a more vertical flow from crown to collarbone. It draws the viewer's attention along graceful lines, rather than settling on the widest points. From the front, the side, or even in a quick glance, the shape reads as elevated. And because it's still a low bun, it keeps every bit of the comfort and practicality you're used to. For a final polish, secure it with a slim metallic clip or pin. The gleam acts like a visual punctuation mark, subtly reinforcing the shape without overpowering it. And if a 2-inch shift can change your whole profile, imagine what happens when the color itself, the very frame around your face, starts working for you instead of against you. Ever wondered why some hair colors seem to make the skin glow, while others leave the whole face looking a little flat? Hair color that's too uniform can quietly drain texture and dimension from your look. I've seen it happen when a rich single-tone shade begins to read as one solid panel. Sleek, yes, but without the subtle variations that give hair its visual life. Here's the catch. Even a gorgeous color can work against you if it's all one depth, because the light has nowhere to play. When color sits at a single depth, it reflects light evenly in one flat plane. This uniformity can soften the edges of your facial features and make skin appear less dynamic. Picture it. A warm brunette without highlights can look smooth but closed in. Add a few golden threads and suddenly the cheekbones seem higher, the jawline cleaner. The adjustment is gentle. Weave in soft, warm-toned highlights, just a step or two away from your natural base. Think honey threads through brunette, golden beige in blonde, or warm chestnut accents in auburn. These micro-contrasts are close enough to feel seamless, yet they add depth and create subtle breaks that catch the eye. The payoff is immediate. Hair regains a sense of structure. Each movement reveals new shifts in tone, and the skin alongside it looks warmer and more dimensional. Even without changing your makeup, the face reads with more definition, and the whole impression feels more intentional. To maintain that layered look, switch to a color-safe shampoo and treat your hair with a deep conditioner every 2 weeks. This keeps the lighter accents luminous while preventing the base from losing richness. And if color alone can reframe your features without cutting a single strand, wait until you see what happens when we bring shape and light back into your hairstyle, especially under the most unforgiving lighting. What's the quickest way to disappear under bright lights? Perfectly straight, perfectly flat hair. Picture it, an evening gala. The kind with chandeliers, camera flashes, and bright direct lighting that shows every detail. You've chosen your outfit, your jewelry catches the light beautifully, but your hair? Under those lights, ultra-sleek hair can compress into a single block of shape. Here's the twist. It doesn't just lose volume, it loses presence. Without variation, the silhouette flattens, and the hair stops acting as an active frame for the face. Even the most beautiful cut can fade into the background when the light has nothing to bounce off. From across the room, you might look polished but oddly two-dimensional. The quick shift? Introduce soft, medium-volume waves. Not tight curls or heavy ringlets, just enough undulation to give the outline movement. This variation in contour adds rhythm to the overall look, letting the hairstyle occupy space in a way that's noticeable without being loud. The change registers instantly. Instead of a static outline, you have a dynamic frame that adjusts with every turn of your head. In photos, the waves create gentle pockets of shadow and relief, giving the style a sculpted quality. In person, the motion feels effortless, almost conversational, as if your hair is part of the interaction. For daytime weddings or more relaxed events, you can weave in pearl pins or slim combs. These details punctuate the curves without overpowering the natural flow of the shape. And if movement can transform how you're seen in one evening, imagine what happens when your style keeps evolving season after season, with nothing more than a few deliberate, timely updates. You know the feeling. Opening your wardrobe and instinctively reaching for the same combinations you've worn for years. They fit, they're reliable, they've served you well. But here's the risk. You can look classic and invisible at the same time. Over time, even the highest quality staples can start to blend together, forming a visual pattern so familiar it stops making a statement. A classic base is a strength, but if it never receives a deliberate update, it can read as cautious rather than confident. One bold cuff bracelet turned my most everyday outfit into my most complimented look of the year. That's the power of a single standout accessory. It shifts the tone of everything around it. And you don't need a drawer full. 1 or 2 seasonal updates can be enough to signal freshness and intention. This isn't about chasing trends. It's about layering in a piece that shifts the overall mood. A silk scarf in a shade you've never worn, a handbag with sculptural hardware, or earrings that double as conversation pieces can all serve as small but defining elements. The effect is cumulative. Each seasonal change subtly redefines your visual signature, keeping your look recognizably yours while preventing it from settling into autopilot. The base pieces still do their job, but the accents signal presence, that you've chosen today's look with fresh eyes. To keep the rhythm, rotate accessory choices with the seasons. Deep, tactile fabrics in autumn, jewel-toned metals in winter, weightless pastels in spring, crisp brights in summer. Over time, this becomes less a styling trick and more a natural part of how you express yourself. And when all these shifts, from hair to accessories, work together, something bigger happens. Your reflection starts matching exactly how you feel inside. We've walked through 5 targeted shifts, each designed to replace quiet style drags with choices that reinforce balance, proportion, and presence. From refining your fringe to rethinking bun placement, from layering tonal depth into your color to reintroducing movement with waves, and finally from seasonal accessories that refresh your visual signature, you now hold a complete adaptable toolkit. The through line is simple. Keep your features open, your proportions harmonious, and your style evolving in ways that feel deliberate. These aren't overhauls. They're precise adjustments that align how you look with the energy and intention you carry every day. That moment when the mirror felt a step out of sync with how you see yourself, it's replaced with a sense of recognition, a look that matches the confidence, curiosity, and individuality you live with. And here's the part most women don't expect. Once you make even one of these changes, others tend to follow naturally. Start small. Choose one shift today and let it settle in. Notice how it changes not just the way you look, but the way you carry yourself. Then, when the moment feels right, add another. Step by step, you'll weave these details into a style language that is uniquely yours.